Before you do any work inside of Photoshop, and I mean even before you wireframe inside the program, you should spend some time with a pencil and a piece of sketch paper or notepad. If you're designing a site for yourself, think about the message and information you're trying to convey to the end user. If you're working on a website for a company or a client, talk to someone about the information that they want to present within their site. And based upon that, you can begin sketching out different ideas. If you're working with a multi-page website, you could sketch out multiple pages. In this case, the site that I'm going to work on, it's going to be a single-page site, which is a fairly common trend in web design, where all the information is displayed within one single page, and the user simply scrolls from one section of the page to the other to try to get to the information that they're looking for. So in this example, I've sketched out some ideas. Now, chances are, if you're sketching out ideas, you'll probably sketch out quite a few, and then you'll narrow down what you think works best. Now, you don't have to do this with a pencil and a piece of paper. You could do this on something like a whiteboard, or if you prefer working on something like an iPad, you could use a program like Adobe Ideas to sketch out some ideas that way. Nevertheless, the goal is to really have a strong understanding of what you're trying to accomplish before you get into Photoshop. So with this sketch, you can see that there's a header section, and the header section contains a navigation system that will allow the user to scroll through these different sections. Now, in terms of how that scrolling functionality works, that's really something that you won't be able to represent inside of Photoshop. You can really just represent the visuals. Nevertheless, you'll notice that I've broken up all the different sections into different blocks. So after the header section, we have kind of this main intro section, which I'm essentially going to set up to be 600 pixels tall. This section will contain a hero-like image, an image that fills up the entire region. And then from there'll be a header with some additional information. Underneath that, you'll notice I have an About section, which is much smaller. It's just a blurb that gives some description of the company or the website. The next section is about the same size as this intro section, which is going to contain information about the company team. So we have a couple profiles here of different members of the team. And then finally, down here towards the bottom, we have a map area, which will show users where this company is located, and then finally a footer. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, I've come up with some initial ideas in terms of how high I think each of these sections should be. Now, I haven't really thought about color at this point, and I really haven't thought too much about the visual presentation of this content. Obviously, I have a little bit of an idea based upon some of the notes and sketches that I've created. So I think it's a good idea to spend some time doing this. Once you have a concept down, then you can come into Photoshop and you'll find that you're more productive in the program once you have kind of a map laid out in terms of what your goals are for the overall layout of the site.